Hi kids, I'm Michael Bain coming to you once again from the unburned secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains and Dragon House Studios. And today we've got a Ken and Barbie show, right? Because you remember that mix and match is fun to do. What Ken and Barbie wear is up to you. If you recall, a few weeks ago we had our interview with Tom Taylor at Sig, and we were talking about Sig's decision to sell essentially a 320 Sig 320 trigger group separately from everything else, so you could mix and match it and build it into whatever you wanted it to be. And of course, Tom mentioned to me at that point that they would be doing the same thing with the Sig 365, which also uses what we call a trigger cradle, a stainless steel cradle that carries the trigger mechanism, which is the serial numbered part, the gun part of the gun. So when I saw that Sig was going in that direction, I reached back out to Tom and said, hey, I see that you're going to offer a 365 XL conversion kit. The 365 XL, as compared to the 365, is a little bit longer slide, a little bit longer butt. 12 rounds instead of 10 rounds, but otherwise they're the same gun. And he goes, yippers. I said, can I have one? He goes, well, we don't have the kit put together yet, but how about this? I'll send you a 365 XL slide and a frame, and we'll look around, we'll find a barrel. So don't worry about that. I'll explain why. So today, I want to show you the culmination of all these pieces. I mean, this table obviously is really junky because there's lots of little pieces here. So to start out with, the Sig 365. It is runaway best-selling gun of the last few years. Why? Because number one, it's little. Number two, it has an excellent trigger. I mean, for a small striker-fired gun, it has just a super trigger. Number three, right out of the box, it has a 10-round magazine capacity. It comes with world-class sights. It's a hard gun not to like. Now, I've enjoyed shooting it. I've enjoyed carrying it. I have a number of different ways I've carried it. The only thing that I really didn't like about it, and it's not a matter of not liking, it's just a matter of that, you know me, I'm like, can I have something else? I got vanilla, can I have peanut butter brittle? Anyway, I thought maybe I'll send the slide off to get it cut to put a sight on it, a small red dot sight. Of course, my friends at Holosun said, no man, talk to Sig. So anyway, after talking to Sig, I got in the mail, lo and behold, a Sig XL slide. Voila. You'll notice that it is, in fact, larger than the 365 slide. By what? Half an inch? Maybe a little more. That's it. A little bit larger. Now, the neat thing about this slide is that it comes cut for a red dot sight. And of course, I looked at it and I'm like, oh, well, where are the screws, Wilbur? How do you take this off? There were instructions, but I, of course, being a man, didn't read them. The short story is the screws to take off this plate that holds the fixed rear sight in place are on the inside. Little bitty holes on the inside. They have little bitty screws that screw in. What's interesting is that essentially the sight is the nut that holds everything in place. These screws go up through the slide and then screw into the sight itself to lock them in place. And they are little annoying screws, I can tell you that definitely. But I mean, trust me, that's how it works. You take them out, they give you the wrenches, you take it out, take off the rear sight, and then check this out. Doing. The plate comes off, and now here's what you have. You have a sight or slide that is already cut for a red dot sight. So, remember I told you not to worry about a barrel? Well, that's because I have two Sig 365. We've talked about this a lot. I have this one, which I have carried extensively, and I have one of the 365 SASs, all smoothed up with that weird rear sight. That particular Sig is in my pocket. It's always in my pocket. It is arguably the best pocket gun I have ever seen in my life. Again, 10 rounds, no snags, really smooth. But The SAS came ported with ported barrel, and I thought, yes, the porting helped keep the recoil down on that little gun. However, this is a gun that's a pocket pistol, last-ditch pistol, close-in pistol. Do you really want ports on something to that? E.g., do you want to add a small fire-breathing dragon to the end of your gun? My answer was no. So what I did is I reached out to a company called True Precision, and I purchased a non-ported barrel for the Sig 365, which I replaced the 365 ported barrel with. So I was so happy with how that shot. It's an excellent barrel that I said, don't worry about sending me a Sig barrel. I'll reach out to True Precision and get, voila, a barrel for a 365 XL, which I did. And I have, of course, I also got a recoil system, springs set up. Now, here is the 365 XL frame. So you say, well, here's what you're going to do, Michael. You're going to take that trigger unit out. You're going to put it in here. You're going to have a 365 XL you're going to carry. No, I'm not. Not going to go that way. Why? I like this gun a lot. There's a lot to be said for the 365 platform and its smallness. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. So what I would like is something that I actually built on a Glock platform once. I once built a Glock, a G19 with a G26 size grip. Why? Because the grip, when you're talking about concealment, the grip is the issue, not the slide. Slide goes down your pants. But the grip, if it's bigger, the bigger it is, the harder it is to conceal. So here's what I decided to do. I decided to make a 365 XL-365. First thing to do that is you gotta take the slide off, right? How do you do that? Okay. Lock it back. Turn this guy down here. See that? There's the slide release mechanism. It's pointing straight down like that. And then this is tricky. Pay attention. You release the slide and slides off. There you are. When we come back, we're going to perform surgery on this 365 lower. Stay with us. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Franklin Armory, the home of innovation in firearms. Volquartsen, engineering the world's best rimfires. Taurus, USA, designed to protect. Lipsies and their great Guns of the Month. And Revolution Targets, 21st Century Steel. Welcome back to Triggered and my now bisected 365. Let's do the easy part first. Let's turn this into a XL/365. What we got here is a slide. What we got here is a barrel. All we do is we put the lime in the coconut and then we insert another lime in the coconut right here. And once you got that, oh look, you got an assembled slide. Watch this. This is tricky. A lot of people say, I took it off, I can't get it back on. Why can't I get it back on? Because if you don't push up the slide lock here, you can't put it back on. When you push up the slide lock, then the release lever can go all the way down. And you can, this is tricky, once again, pay attention. Whoops, look at there, it's on. So you say, now how do I lock it up? Lock the slide back. And there you go. I now have a Sig 365 XL. Now, what do I want to do? Well, this is tricky. I want to put this guy on here. We use these two little screws. I'm not going to go to great lengths with it here, but let us just say we use these two little screws. They come with the sight. This is a Sig Romeo 0. It is designed from the ground up for this gun. It is an excellent sight. Just won an award as the best new optic of the year. So, and plus it's like 200, 250 bucks. Great deal on optic. So, voila. Of course, there's no battery in here. And then I'm looking at it and I think, oh man, it could be a lot prettier, couldn't it? You think this could be prettier? Yeah, sure. Okay. Lock the slide back again. Rotate this guy down. Come on, get back there. Rotate the release lever down all the way. Come on, quit fighting me. Release the slide, and the slide comes off. And now we have this. How can I make this prettier? I go to Bruce Gray. Bruce Gray and I have been friends 1,000 years. I think you guys know that, at least 2-3 decades. Gray Guns make some of the finest SIG and HK parts on earth. Bruce could, and I've said this before and you've read it on the SIG forum, Bruce could carve a SIG out of a block of soap and it would work. In fact, it would be very reliable. He is the rarest combination of all, of a master gunsmith, master metal worker, world-class shooting champion, and a superb teacher. I've taken classes from Bruce. So I said to Bruce, hey, I know that SIG has like tons of people making polymer grip frames for 365 as well as the 320. I know you do too. I said, could I get one? He goes, I have a pretty gray one. Because he goes, I know in your case, style counts. So how do I get this guy to this guy? It's complicated. Here we go. There's a pin. You see this pin right here in the very back? There is a single pin in the back of the 365 frame. Push the pin out. Tricky, isn't it? Now, I've never had to hammer it out, and usually I hammer everything out. So now the pin is gone. What am I going to do? You see this little groove right here, slide, where the slide rides? I take a punch, I insert it in here, and I push up. Wow. And then I go doing, 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 doing. And what I now have here with pieces of dirt that flew out, this is a SIG cradle. This is the gun part of the gun. This is the serial numbered part of the gun. That's all. I say, okay, now I'm going to put it in here. It goes in a little bit pointy like that, where it fits in. Push down, it'll click. It clicked. Take the pin, put the pin back in. This will give you a good chance to use this of the frame here as a small mallet. Dong, dong. The pin is in. Now remember, we're going to push up on the slide release, which is going to allow us to put the frame on. Come on, slide release, push up. I can't really show this well. Down, on, chunk, there. Then we lock it back, and it pops right in. And now what I have? What do you know? I have a pretty SIG 365 XL slide frame with a red dot sight and this beautiful Gray Guns frame, which is, by the way, the lasering on this is exactly right for this gun. Bruce knows what the heck he's doing. So, why do I like this as opposed to going to the longer framed XL? You can see if I stack them together here, you can see the longer frame on the XL frame. Well, because if you look at it, I have the best of all worlds here. Let's do it this way since these are loaded magazines. Let's say I want to have the maximum concealment, 10-round magazine, flat magazine, butt plate. That gives me the most concealment. That's really simple. I want something with a little bit where my little finger will go. Look, I can have that. And you can get 12-round magazines that will fit this. Now, what am I carrying for my second magazine every time? I am carrying a 15-round magazine. Why? Because it's got 15 rounds. Now, that gives me a full-size grip frame, exactly as if it was a full-size pistol. So again, I give up concealment on the XL, but from my standpoint, since I'm carrying 15-round magazines as a backup, I don't give up anything in capacity. This makes me happy, happy, joy, joy, joy. When we come back with all this junk on, I do want to show you one holster, and then it's time to get into maybe some new products. Stay with us.
The revolutionary TCM from Rock Island Armory. Fire it once, and you'll be hooked. The first thing you'll notice is its sonic boom and enormous muzzle flash as it hurls the exclusive Armscore 22 TCM round downrange at a blistering 2,000 feet per second with penetrating impact. It shoots surprisingly easy with light recoil. The 17-round TCM series. So fun to shoot, it's like a thrill ride, only better.
Welcome back to Triggered, where we are now setting with my completely built out, really beautiful SIG 365 XL/365. Wanted to show you a couple of things really quickly before we get to new products. This is a whole box of screws, right? These are M3s, M4s, M5s, screws and bolts. And you're thinking like, it cost me 20 bucks from, I think, Brownells. These have saved my life more times than you can imagine. You know why? Because you lose little bitty screws. This way you got about 1 million of them. One caveat, it says right here, not suitable for children under 3 years old. So if you have disassembled your child and lost the screws to reassemble it, these will not work. You're going to have to use glue. Secondly, how am I going to carry this? This is outside the waistband holster from Muddy River Tactical. Now, being from Tennessee, of course, on the Mississippi River, I like that right off. But these guys are not well known, but they have a huge number of different guns molded, and they're quick. The reason that I found them is I needed a holster for, I think, a car, one of the very small car CWs, and nobody else had one, and I called Muddy River, and they said, yeah, we'll give it to you in 2 days, 3 days, we'll get it to you. So same thing, I went to them this time, and they did essentially your basic outside the waistband holster for this gun. It is excellent. I like it a lot. So Muddy River Tactical, give them a look when you're talking about holsters, okay? We'll talk more about them as I got some more stuff coming from them. Okay, some new products that came out of, just briefly, the Lucid Ballistic Summit. I ran into a friend of mine there, and he's a sales rep, and he goes, hey, are you familiar with THRILs? So THRIL? So yeah, I'm old. I get them the best way I can. But he says, no, Michael, it's a company, THRIL. And essentially they make molded polymer stuff, right? So what they have is magazine, AR-15 magazine, AR-15 grip, AR-15 competition, and tactical, essentially stock. Excellent. So I started looking at them. He goes, just take a look at them and tell me what you think. So I'm looking at these guys, and they're really in like plastic boxes that I could never get open. But I look at them, I said, you know, darn, it's kind of nice. Got this like softer polymer on the butt plate here for those of us who bounce them on the ground. Of course, this one's drilled because I live in Colorado. But I'm looking at it, and he goes, does it look familiar? I said, yeah, looks like my absolute favorite AR magazine begins with an L. He goes, that's because this company has been making those. I won't go into it. But this is a nice magazine. I said, wow, I like the butt pad. I like it here. You know, I like your follower. I like the stainless steel spring. So what kind of price? He goes, 13, 14 bucks. Boom. Stock, 50, 60 bucks. Intelligently designed. You got a couple of quick releases here for sling. You got, once again, a rubberized pad on the rear. You got just the right down angle in terms of shouldering for it. It's for mil-spec buffer tubes. And then they said, hey, wait till you see this. This is yet another thing that all of us have roughly 40, 50, maybe 100 of, which is AR grips. Wow. Little bit thinner, excellent texture on it, good grip. And I think in the 16 buck range. So THRIL, take a look at their product. Got them over here. I also mentioned, remember we were talking about the VR80 a couple of 3 weeks ago, Arms Corps, incredibly good semi-auto shotgun. And I said, darn, the only thing I wish it had was an extended bolt handle. Voila, an extended bolt handle. This is from Hayes Customs in Texas. What a surprise. We're all going to be in Texas at the rate things are going. But anyway, they were one of the first gunsmithing operations to specialize in VR80s. They do an excellent job with them. But this is a slightly bigger bolt handle, which is exactly what that shotgun needs. So once again, Hayes Custom Guns. And finally, all right, remember I told you we went out to AOB up in Columbia, Missouri, and one of the things that impressed me was that Smith & Wesson had kind of upped their game on their knives. Well, I wanted to show you this one because because look at it, you know, come on, zombies. Actually, no, I like it because starting very soon, I'm going to be chopping a lot of bush around my house. My house is going to look like a house surrounded by a desert because fire can't get to it. This is the evacuation and evasion machete. It's got a good grip. It's got a good butt plate on it in case a zombie comes up. You got to hit them like that. It's got some wicked saw teeth on the back so you can hacksaw through things. It's sharp. It's got an intelligently designed sheath. You know, you could do a lot worse than to have this in your car. So see, you got some of those riders and they got their hand in there. Fuck. All you need is bread and mayonnaise and you've got an Antifa sandwich. Okay, that's it for this week. This is the day after the election, and no, things have not turned out best. We don't still know who the winner is, and we can all hope. But I do want to make a point here that no matter who wins, Democrat or Republican, that we here at Triggered, MBTV on the radio, all the shows that I do, whether they are broadcast or on the internet, we're going to keep doing exactly what we've done for the last 21 years, which is produce the best gun material available, period. We're only interested in the best. We don't give a damn who's sitting at the top of this country. We will stay the course. I am Michael Bain. Find us on michaelbain.tv. Find us on everest.com. Find us on YouTube. One of the things we do is I watch these on my big screen television on YouTube, and you can too. Links set, of course, MBT and michaelbain.tv. So until next week, faith.